Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 50 of Survival Jobs, a podcast in collaboration with BroadwayWorld. My name is Samantha Tuozzolo, and this is my lovely co-host, Jason A. Coombs. Jason,
Hey
50.
everybody. I know, right? Wow. I can't believe 50.
That's a lot of episodes.
That is. And I'm so proud of us to have 2 seasons, 50 episodes down.
Yes.
We've had a bunch of really, really incredible guests.
Oh, Jason,
over the past.
Tell me some of your highlights.
Oh, man. I mean, I feel so guilty if I had missed someone, but because we've had so many really, really great ones. I mean, off the top of my head, oh boy. Well, I will say, talking to Chad Hodge was really cool because that's someone that we didn't know, none of us knew before, and I had watched Single All the Way, and I was like, oh, we'll see if he says yes to being on this, and he did. So
yeah, and then he
how
did,
cool
and then
that?
Yeah, that was cool. And then from that, I binged Wayward Pines, which was his
I
show
still
that
haven't
he
binged
created,
the whole thing. Yeah,
and I loved it. I was obsessed. I binged the whole season pretty quickly. So
you loved it.
Yeah, good one.
And
That's
he's
a good one.
He's my friend now because we both love Whitney Houston. So we always talk about Whitney because the Whitney Houston movie biopic trailer just came out. We've been talking about that, and he's such a really, really awesome person that I'm so thankful to know.
So sweet.
He's one of them. Who else? What about you?
Well, so
Crystal was great.
Crystal, we love. And that was our season 2 opener. She's so amazing. She's also, we talked about this on the episode. I created my vision board for the year with her and our other friend Lola. And I watched Crystal, how she goes through life. And this girl is a hustler, and she is always working and always picking up things. And it's just so inspiring. She was amazing.
For sure. Yeah.
Off the top, first thing off the top of my head is Lisa Lampanelli, because she really, really made me laugh. And her story is so good, and her journey, and now we're friend again, talking about becoming friends with our guests. Now we're friends with her, about to go to her show, and
October 15th.
Yes, and then go to a little preview and give notes.
Oh yeah.
This podcast has really brought us so many people and artists to connect with, which I think for me, I'm grateful for this show for so many reasons, but I'm so grateful to be able to connect with other artists and learn about journeys and jump on board their creative endeavors.
For sure. And I know we've said this. I mean, people who faithfully listen, how inspiring this is for us to hear people. I remember even most recently, Mark Rain, just hearing him, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get to work on this movie. And I'm right away, I'm okay. He just lit something in me. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are people who are creating and living these artful and full and exciting lives it just makes you okay, I need to get my shit together and do it, which we are. This podcast is really artistic, and we're doing our thing. But yeah, I'm just babbling now. But
no, I love it. And now I'm going to throw one at you that we didn't talk about previously. Tell me some of your goals for the next 50. What are some guests you want to come on for the next 50 episodes?
Whoopi Goldberg. I'm just waiting for the right time to
seriously,
courage.
Yes. when we created this, that is one of the first things you said to me. You're like, I'm gonna get Whoopi.
Yeah. And I'm because I love her. I love Whoopi. She's just been she's just always been part of the I want to say subconscious of pop culture. Growing up, I just remember being a kid and seeing her movies, and my family always watching The Color Purple and Lion King and Sister Act. I feel she's just always been part of my life in a way, which is weird because obviously, and then yeah, and then of course I love The View, so I've been watching her on The View, and I got to meet her, and we worked on this little film together, and she was the kindest, most supportive, so encouraging, so genuine celebrity I think I've ever met. And for her to be an EGOT and to have that humble humbleness to her. I feel like I'm not talking words. I don't know. Let's blame it on Nicole.
You are talking words. Yeah.
I just always remember that and how she made me feel being someone who like admires her so much. And I just want to build the courage to ask her. Which I'm sure like it's stupid. I haven't done it yet. But that's who it is. Yeah, right?
I love that. Yes.
What about you?
That would be,
come on.
Well, I think you and our guests could probably answer this. Our guests, hello, I'm tired. Our listeners, our faithful listeners
Mariska?
Could probably, yes, Mariska. Thank
Sorry,
you.
I'm the worst.
Mariska, always, but recently, Chandra Wilson from Grey's Anatomy. Here I am talking about Grey's Anatomy again. I've been down such a Grey's rabbit hole, and now I'm down like interview rabbit holes. And she kept her survival job, I think, for the first 2 seasons of Grey's.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this story sort of leads into Ephie, our guest today, how she kept her survival. Well, we'll let you guys hear it in real time, but that's funny. I didn't even think about that. Yes, Chandra kept her survival job for like the first 2 seasons until her survival job was like, hey, we're going to take you off because we see you on TV every week. So I think you're safe. I think you're in a good spot. And also her acting is so fucking good. Sorry to swear, but I had to. There is this episode. Oh my God. There's this episode in the season 6 finale. And I don't want to give spoilers, but something really traumatizing happens at the hospital. And there's this one scene where I have rewatched that little scene so many times. I actually made Robin DeJesus, shout out to another one of our guests, another one of our 50 episode guest highlights. I made him sit down and watch it with me. I said, you need to watch this acting, honey. Anyway.
Where's her Emmy? The Emmys. Where's her Emmy?
Oh my God, the Emmys. Yeah, where's her Emmy?
Oh my gosh. We have so much to talk about in this mic check and not a lot of time, but
not a lot of times.
Yeah, I agree. Chandra Wilson she's always a standout. She's just so grounded and a gut punch. Like I feel like I watch her and I get that gut punch like all the time.
And by the way, started out on Broadway.
Broadway, yeah. Should we talk about the Emmys really fast?
Like, yes. Tell me what you think.
This wasn't planned. Oh my gosh. I mean, I have to shout out Cheryl Lee Ralph because
I just gasped. I was on mute, but wow.
Her speech. Oh my gosh. Chills. Like the song, like
I am an endangered species, but I sing no victim song. I am a woman. I am an artist.
Like everything about that. And just to know, she's also someone, right? Like she was in a show that I used to watch called Moesha that starred Brandy in the 90s. She was Moesha's stepmom. And she also was in Sister Act 2 where she played Lauryn Hill's mom. Anyway, she's just someone that's always been in like the pop culture of like my childhood. And to see someone who she's like in her 60s and she's like living, she's on a hit show right now. She won her first Emmy. Like, oh my gosh. Like I just was like living for that speech and for that moment. And I can go on and on. So cut me off, please.
I mean, no, it was iconic. I was watching.
Iconic.
My jaw was on the floor. I was like, what? I'm so sorry. The girl who created Abbott Elementary, what is her name?
Quinta Brunson, who also won.
Iconic. She's amazing. My first memory of her, though, is that viral video that was like, "Ooh, he got money, large." And I can't. Every time I see her, I just think about her going, "A large." No, I enjoyed the Emmys. We didn't plan to talk about this, so I can't, off the top of my head, think. But thanks to you, I'm a Succession fan through and through, so I was happy to see that win.
Succession, oh man, and White Lotus won, which I love. White Lotus.
And speaking of Chad Hodge, Jennifer Coolidge, I was thinking of him and that little dance she did. It was a good show, and I feel like they spread the love, which I always like. I don't, instead of having like one show do a major sweep.
Get everything, right? Did you watch Squid Game also? I can't remember the actor's name.
I haven't.
He won best dramatic. So we like, guys, we weren't supposed to talk about this. We had like a list of things we are going to talk about.
Yeah, and we just went off.
But oh man, because we are suckers for that.
We really are. Also, Julia Garner winning for Ozark. Come on. And then I watched her like in the after interviews, whatever the heck it's called, and she literally is just slipping into different because they asked her about the dialects from
Anna Delvey.
Shout out to, if we're talking about our 50 episode, shout out to Krista Farrow.
One of my favorite also.
Yeah, that was a great episode too. She was slipping in and out of the dialects. She was like Anna Delvey, and she was like, I can't even attempt, and I won't. But she was like, Anna is like sort of flat and is like versus Ruth, and then she was just slipping in and out of this. Like, what a star.
Yeah, she's super talented.
Yeah,
and Lizzo won. Oh. Lizzo's speech.
Lizzo's dress.
Yeah, fire.
Also,
wow.
I love that we just talked about the Emmys and our 50th episode, and within our talk about the Emmys, channeled two of our past guests.
I know.
I love what we've created.
I love that so much. Yeah, so really quickly, I don't want to spend too much time, but I was at the New York Latino Film Festival this past weekend, and I saw this amazing documentary about Pedro Zamora, and I'm not sure if people know who that is, but he was an HIV and AIDS activist, and he was on The Real World back in the 90s, The Real World San Francisco, and he was a man who was living with AIDS on the show, and I mean, I think we're probably both were too young at the time, because that was in 1984, I believe. So I feel like I didn't know his whole story. Like, I know who he was just because he's an LGBTQ plus icon, but I didn't know his whole story. And to see that film, it was like the first like major documentary about him. And it's a 90-minute documentary, and I cried throughout like more than half of it. It was so beautiful, and his story is so important, y'all. Like, whenever this movie comes out, it's called Keep the Camera Rolling, The Pedro Zamora Way. You have to see it. It's like so important, because I know it's 2022, and of course, like HIV is not even like, no one really gets AIDS anymore, like especially here, because like there's so much treatment and there's so much awareness about it, and so much money goes into the funding. But back then, there was none of that, you know, and he was such people didn't see someone. So a lot of people didn't know someone who had HIV or AIDS until they saw Pedro, right? A lot of people didn't know someone who was gay until they saw Pedro on their TV screens every week on The Real World. So he was just so important, and movie is great. Like, I just can't talk about it enough, and I just wish people can see it. I hope it gets picked up on like a streaming service, or it just needs to get out there. It's such a beautiful film.
Can we see it anywhere now, or
it's still playing the festival circuit? So I think it's playing another festival in New York. I will do the research on that, and I'll throw it into the show notes, because I don't know off the top of my head, but I know it's playing somewhere in New York in October. So yeah, you have to go.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got to go to the festival. I missed.
Me too.
I had such bad FOMO that I missed it.
I know. It's okay. There'll be plenty more for us. And that's such a great festival for sure.
Yes.
And there's one more film. Can I say there's one more film that people need to watch? It's in theaters.
You're like, Samantha, can I'm like, no, you cannot.
So great. It's a horror film called Barbarian. Watch this trailer. Barbarian. I
get scared, Jason, on horror films. Honestly.
I know you don't do horror, but
I like it, but then I'm scared for months.
It's so good. Like, if you watch the trailer, I don't want to ruin anything about it. I just know, like, if you are a fan of horror, you need to watch this movie. Go to the movies. Don't read anything about it. Watch the first trailer, and that's it. Like, go into it unexpected and just have a good time, because you're gonna have a ride. And like, they don't make movies like that anymore, like where you just go into the movies and you're sitting there with your popcorn, and you and the audience has a collective joyful experience. You're scared together, you're whooping and hollering together, you're like, girl, don't go that way together. Like, it was so fun. And so well written.
Oh my God, I'm so hyped for all these recommendations you have now from the film fest.
Yeah. Well, that one's at the film fest, but
fun.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
How
embarrassed.
fun. Don't
well,
be.
Anyway, happy 50th episode. I love you, and I can't wait for the next 50.
I know. We're going to have like 550 at least. Can you imagine?
That just stressed me out. I'm like, that's a lot of Instagram posts that I can't keep up with. Hopefully.
Well, one day we're going to be successful and have like an assistant.
Yeah. Yes. Hopefully we have a social media manager, because let me tell you, I am behind on the Instagram. Sorry, everyone. Yes, everything. All we'll do is, Jason, should we now talk about our 50th episode guest?
Yes. Ephie Aardema. She's so freaking cool. She is an understudy. She's one of the Fannies. And funny girl.
This is our and we'll talk about this in the episode, but this is our second Fanny. Jason and I now call ourselves the Fanny Fan Club, and they have a little something going on called Fanny Pack. I don't know how we can get in that. Probably you have to book Fanny Brice, which neither of us are gonna do.
I mean,
but we're the fan club. Yeah.
I've been singing "Don't Rain on My Parade" like every day since we saw it. So
let's hear a note.
No, I'm not going to torture anybody.
No, not today. Don't make me sing. Don't make me sing.
I love saying "sit and putter." I say that all the time to myself. Sit and putter.
To myself, he said.
That's such a great line. Anyway, should we read her bio?
Yes.
We're silly, y'all.
We're tired and we're silly, and happy 50.
Happy 50. Okay. Ephie is currently the Fanny Brice understudy and funny girl on Broadway, and also plays the role of Emma. She was also in the original cast of Bridges of Madison County on Broadway and played Dawn on the first national tour of Waitress. She was a Jeff Award nominated. Excuse me, y'all. She was Jeff Award nominated for playing Harriet and Emma at Chicago Shakespeare Theater, and has also been nominated for multiple IRNE and Norton Awards for Best Leading Actress. Whew. I had to do that like 3 times, y'all. Sorry.
You made it through. I thought I wasn't going to make it through. First of all, I love Waitress, so I just want to shout out Waitress.
Yes.
She also played Montine in the One Night Only Parade at Lincoln Center with Jeremy Jordan and Laura Minotti. Jeremy Jordan. She originated the role of Lucy Honeychurch in the musical A Room with a View, and has been seen off-Broadway in Clueless the Musical, Songbird, and Daddy Longlegs, among others.
Effie's great, y'all.
Enjoy the episode. Wait, Jason, didn't you want to remind everyone that if you're watching the video, please also know you can stream the audio on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Pandora. And if you're just listening to the audio, you can also watch the full video of our gorgeous faces on BroadwayWorld.com. Just search Survival Jobs and all of the episodes come up. Thank you guys for your support for the last 50 episodes, and we'll see you for the next. And enjoy Ephie, y'all.
Welcome, Ephie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being our 50th guest, or not 50th guest, but on our 50th episode of Survival Jobs, a podcast.
Yay. Congratulations on 50.
Thank you. And thank you for being here for it. Such an iconic episode, Jason.
I know. It's so exciting.
Yeah, like Jason said, thank you so much for coming. We're so happy to have you. As you know, this podcast is called Survival Jobs. We sort of created this out of frustration from our own survival jobs and just wanted to chat with artists and see what's going on. By the way, you are our second Fanny Brice on the show. Thank you so much. We're just like the biggest Fanny fan club. Fanny fan club. Oh my God.
We call the fans that come over and over again the Fannies.
Can we be Fannies?
So of course you can.
Yes. I think we already are. We love Julie, and now we love you. So here we go.
I think we absolutely have to be Fannies. Iconic.
That's amazing. That is very iconic.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in and start talking shop. So do you have, you know, you're having this great success now. Surely you had a path to get you there. We don't know anything. We're going to learn it all together. Do you have a survival job that you've had along the way that was sort of like your favorite or one that you loved the most?
Yeah, definitely. I worked for Facebook for 4 years.
Oh boy. Zuckerberg was your boss?
Yeah, and for 2 of those years, I did it while I was on tour with Waitress. So that was crazy. Because I basically was like working 2 full-time jobs, but I was working remotely and on this like small team called Crowd Tangle, which was an organization that was accrued by Facebook, I think in 2016 or 2015. And originally my job was like creating all of these lists of like random things that we needed in the system. So like they'd be like, we need all the US senators, like social media accounts across like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, categorized by like what party they're in, and like you have to make sure that they're real. So like that was part of it too.
Oh,
like
wow.
not like including like fake accounts and stuff like that. And basically what I was doing was like being used by journalists to report on like what was being said on social media. And this tool that we built out helped them see whatever it was they were writing about in real time, like in an easier way than having to dig through the whole internet. So like they could put in like certain keywords and things like that into this system, and it would in real time like pull up, like if you picture like in a movie what a newsroom looks like, they might have like a board, like a big screen that has like rolling information on it for them to like, you should report on that or something like that's happening or something. Like we created like something like that, like what that would look like real-time information about what was being said on the internet.
That's wild.
So that's what it started as. And then I left because I was burnt out and I was doing Waitress, and then I was just, and so I was like, okay, like it's okay. Like I had started it when I didn't have an acting job. Like that's how I ended up at Facebook, was as a survival job. And then I happened to go on tour, and then I left Facebook and just focused on acting. And then the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, a couple months in, the people from Crowd Tangle at Facebook called me and were like, are you okay? We know that you left to do Broadway and there's no Broadway. There's, you know, like we're worried about you. And also like we could really use an extra set of hands right now because it was like the 2020 election, and they were building out like a new way to use the tool to find disinformation online on the platform, like find disinformation on Facebook and Instagram in a different way than how they normally do. So like I was not part of the integrity department that normally takes stuff down or whatever. I was like on this little like crack team of like cool people who were like, how can we like use what we are working on to help with this issue of disinformation and like incitements of violence and stuff like cropping up on the platform. And so they called and they were like, do you want to help us with this? We're going to use our tool to like try to get bad stuff taken down off of Facebook faster. And yeah, it was like people working from the inside to like do this like amazing thing. And like this is like a, you know, putting Facebook in a positive light for 1 second. To their credit, they like gave these people the budget for this. Like these people went to the top and were like, we need a budget and we want to do this and it's going to like help the world and be a good thing. And they, you know, like to their credit, Facebook was like, yes, cool, here's money, do it. And so we spent like a year of the pandemic, this small team, like just basically like scrolling through garbage content and like getting it taken down.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. And that sounds highly stressful because like what a time in our country to be doing that. Like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were all like trying to educate ourselves about the stuff that was happening. So we had like there was a team of like 4 women within our team who were like, let's focus on right-wing militia content. So then we had to go like, well, now we have to learn about right-wing militias. So we would like go and do these deep dives into the internet to study like who these people are across the country and like which ones have been like identified as like having the most incidents of real life violence. And so like, who should we be focusing on? And then we'd have to like go and like basically go into stuff like Parler and Mayway and like right-wing sort of channels and like go find keywords, because we had to like make keywords to like look for bad content.
Right.
So it was kind of funny because like we would like make up fake usernames and stuff to like sort of not use our own names on, you know, like none of us wanted anyone to be like, oh, look, Ephie's on Parler. Like, you know, like, so like we weren't like undercover, but like we obviously didn't want to use our real names. So we had a really funny time coming up with some names and some like user photos and stuff like that.
I'm like too scared to even ask what the keywords were. You know, it's probably like pretty shocking. Also, to like do a sidebar, how iconic are you that you're literally on the Waitress National Tour and also working a full-time job? Like that's a first, Jay, on the show. I don't think we've heard anybody like doing their survival job while like doing the thing.
Yeah. Also such an important job too. Like,
right.
Yeah. I took vacation. Wild. I took some vacation while I was learning Waitress, but because I was a replacement, I only had like 2 weeks to rehearse anyway. And then I was just doing the show, and I was just doing the show at night. So then I was like, well, I'm not going to quit because it's such a great job. And like, what if, you know, the tour ends or whatever? So I didn't quit, and I just sort of worked from my computer. I didn't, I think I scaled back slightly. Like I didn't do my full hours, but like, they were really flexible with me, and I sort of changed my hours depending on what I felt like I could give. And I would just wake up and like do my work on my computer. And I would usually give myself like about 2 hours every day, like depending on how early I woke up, to explore whatever city we're in. So like, I tried to not miss the tour experience, but I would like wake up, like go to a coffee shop or a bookstore, like see a park, and then like go home and like work for several hours on my computer, and then like go do the show at night. And like that was like my life.
That's iconic. That's iconic.
It is iconic.
Thank you.
My job that I'm doing right now, I do like a lot of research on like kind of like similar stuff. I'm working on a documentary, so I do like a lot of research on like the right-wing kind of propaganda and like in tweets and all that stuff. So that's so wild that like that was your job for so long, and it was like during the height of that time. Like, how was your mental health during that? That's crazy.
I think it actually helped, and we switched to like after the election, we switched to doing vaccine content. Like people who were like spreading blatant disinformation is what we focused on, because there was a lot of gray area of like people saying things that were terrible and troubling, but not actually like specifically breaking like Facebook's rules about what is considered blatant disinformation, like purposeful misinformation. Because you're allowed to like express your opinions on Facebook. That's not like against their rules, as long as it's clearly an opinion and not being stated as like a clear, like you're saying this is a fact.
It's a fact, yeah.
So that made things really gray. So we focused on people who were obviously like spreading blatant lies about the vaccine, and like stuff that was ridiculous, like things that were so easily like don't need to be debated. Things like the vaccine will give you the devil's mark and you'll go to hell, or like, or you'll, or like people who take the vaccine sprout a tail. Like, it's like stuff that's just like, that was just like, well, no one's going to debate this, so it's obviously needs to come down. Like,
wait, you guys didn't get a tail? You guys didn't get your tail? Like, come on.
Oh, Jason, you got yours?
Yeah, it's very long.
Very long.
And I think it actually, to answer your question, sorry, I think that it actually helped my mental health during that last year of the pandemic. I was really struggling before they had called me. I was taking care of my grandmother. She was like very ill and she passed away, and I was really in like a bad place. And then that's like right before she passed away is when they offered me that job, and it gave me through like that personal trauma and then the greater trauma that we were all going through, it gave me a real sense of purpose and like something to wake up every day and be like, well, this is meaningful. And not just that, but also people to see like on the computer. Granted, you know, it's through a computer, but like just to interact with human beings every day was a big deal for me, and it helped me a lot.
Well, oh, that's good to hear. I sorry, I should have. It's like just a personal question, and we like just met. I'm like, how was your mental health during that time? So I apologize, but I just want to make sure you're okay.
I'm an open book.
Okay, cool. Well, let's flip it and reverse it. Do you have like a crazy or a worse survival job story? Something that you were like, I would never do that again.
I worked in a restaurant for 2 weeks. That was my first survival job. And after 2 weeks, I quit. It wasn't for me. It just wasn't. Granted, I also worked a restaurant job where we were required to wear heels and short skirts. And so I was like a hostess, and it was like a vibe, and that was part of the reason why I didn't like it. But
those are the worst.
So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I was also a babysitter, and I really enjoyed that. I really loved nannying. Like I loved all the kids that I nannied for, and I did like some political organizing too, but like didn't get paid to do that. That was just whatever.
Yeah.
Right. No, we feel you hardcore on the restaurant life. We Jason and I unfortunately had to last a little longer than 2 weeks, but we 100% feel the pain. I wanna, unless you have another survival job you want to share, I would love to jump into talking about Funny Girl.
Yeah. Oh, I have one more that's kind of funny.
Once was kind of funny.
I once was paid to roller skate around New York. I worked for, God, I was really young. I think I was like 19 or something. And I saw the ad on Craigslist. It was for Benefit Cosmetics, like the mascara people. And they gave me
this, that mascara. That's a good mascara.
Yeah, it's a decent product. And they like hired all these girls to wear like hot pink sequined jumpsuits and like retro roller skates and skate around like Lincoln Center and Union Square and stuff with like these giant inflatable mascara wands that were kind of phallic. And so that was pretty funny.
That is so fun. First of all, also shout out to you for knowing how to roller skate. I would probably fall down in a crosswalk with like that inflatable mascara like on someone. I don't know.
To be fair, I was better at it when I was younger. I went roller skating the other day and definitely fell a couple times. So
he doesn't want to see me roller skate.
Yeah, it's apparently not like riding a bike.
You're like I need my knee pads.
Yeah.
I need like knee pads, ass pads, like
elbow pads, 3 helmets. So like we said, you're our second Fanny on our show, and I love Fanny Fan Club. I think that's our new phrase, Jay. But I would love, this just from an outside perspective, looking in, it seems like it's been such a roller coaster and such an amazing journey. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like? From like, first of all, do you hear this outside of my window? It sounds like people are on the street screaming. I don't know what's going on. I hope everyone's okay.
They're excited to be in New York City.
I think they are. They're excited to be. I don't know if there's a game going on, but people are screaming.
Anyway. Maybe they're excited that the rain stopped.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they are. Yeah. So if you could just tell us a little bit about how it's been, how you're feeling, what it's all been like.
It's been incredible. It's been the experience of a lifetime. I count myself so lucky that all of these women, who we call ourselves the Fanny Pack, like all of these women who have shared this role or been covers and whatnot, whatever, all of us that have learned this role together, are so kind, and we all get along, and everyone's being really gentle with each other, and we really feel like a team, because it is a role that feels like climbing a mountain, or like climbing Mount Everest or something. It's I've never been scared of a role in my life, and I've done theater since I was 8 years old, and it's the first time in my life that I ever like panicked when I found out that I got a job, where I was like, oh God, oh God, people have such really big, intense opinions and feelings about this character, and about what it's supposed to be and what it shouldn't be, and people are just very vocal about their feelings about it, and very passionate about their feelings about it. And so and on top of that, just the material vocally it's a mountain like to climb. And so I felt really lucky that the other women who were going through that and learning it and having to put themselves out there in that way, that we've all gotten along so well, because it, historically you can read stories about the original, and it doesn't always go that way. So we've been really lucky, and
it's such a physically demanding show. Me and Samantha saw it in August, and like Fanny's on the stage the entire time, and
the whole time,
dancing and singing, and going to emotional depths.
Yeah, and I think it was extra terrifying for me at first, also knowing that I would only be on once in a while and with no real consistency. So I don't have the chance. I still haven't had the chance to feel like I'm in a groove, and like I'm like, I wouldn't say that I'm not growing in the part, because I definitely am, like over time finding more depth and different things that are mine and just mine, and growing in that way, and growing as an actor, because like you inherently do, if you grow as a person, like as you get older, your craft like deepens. But it was definitely really scary at first, just the concept of someday I'm going to go on for this part, and I'm probably not going to have any advance notice, and I don't know what it's going to be like until I do it. So yeah, but then after I did it the first time, I was like, the second time I did it, I felt so different. Like I suddenly was able to sort of like let my shoulders relax.
Oh my gosh, I bet.
What's the shortest amount of time you've been given? Like the shortest notice you've been given before you've had to go on?
10 a.m. for a 2 p.m. matinee. It's like the morning of. And I actually kind of nowadays wish that, not wish, but like I think it's actually ideal not to have any notice at all, because like having a few hours even gets you so riled up, and it's maybe just better to be like, oh, I'm on right now, I don't have time to be nervous, like we're just gonna do it.
It's like you have no space in your head to feel anxious.
Because I had that happen with the other role I covered. So my track in the show, I play a principal role. Her name's Emma, who's Fanny's assistant. And then I play her full time. And then I cover Fanny, and I also cover Mrs. Meeker, who's one of the older card playing ladies.
Oh, girl, that's range.
Actress. So yeah, it's a big job. It's a big job. It's a lot of stuff. I did have a rehearsal one time where I had to run around and do all the parts.
Oh my God.
I also
you had to do Fanny plus your other tracks in the rehearsal?
Switched around. Like I didn't do Fanny the whole time. It was like people were coming and going, and so I was like,
got it,
running from here to there to there to there, and
wow.
And it was actually kind of a fun day. At first, I was like, "What is happening?" And then by the end of the day, I was like, "I did that. Okay, like that was cool." But so it has happened for Mrs. Meeker, the other role that I cover, where I didn't know I was going on until after half hour had already been called, and that's when I learned that that's kind of what I prefer, because you just don't have time to get nervous.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That gives me so much anxiety.
Here we go. Like, I hope it goes well. Like there's literally just no time. So, and I do prefer that, but yeah, I don't know.
Congratulations. No, congratulations. And you should be so proud. I mean, to be part of such a historic show. I mean, I'm sure you know this. You don't need me to explain this to you, but like, I don't know. I just feel like just like when we went, Samantha, it just was a goosebumps because it's such a historically iconic show, and like you're a part of that, you know. And like I hope you're documenting this stuff because like I'm working on this documentary, so that's always in my head now, of like how like just archiving these very important moments of your life. They're so important, and like keep track of that. That's like my only thing I would say to you, like, because that's huge.
It feels huge, and a really pleasant surprise. And I think I had really gotten to a place in my career where I was really happy with what I had and with what I have. And at the time, like I was doing a ton of regional theater and like some off Broadway and some tours, and I was like, I'm cool with being a little under the radar and just being able to work and be in rooms with people who make me happy and who make me grow and who I learn from watching them, and like flexing my muscles as an artist without like needing anything more. And so this was like a big surprise, like not something that I was like, oh, I'd been on Broadway when I was much younger doing Bridges to Madison County when I was like 22. And so I'd done that and then like nothing for 8 years, no Broadway shows, I mean, for 8 years. And so, and so I wasn't counting on going back to Broadway. And this was my first audition back after the pandemic. And I had I didn't have agents either. So during the pandemic, my agency closed because of like financial stuff that happened. And so I didn't have agents during the pandemic, and I didn't know if I was going to act again. And then July at the very end, the last week of July of 2021, I reached out to an agency and met with them, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you on. And this was my first audition with them. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to be an actor again. And I guess I'm going back to Broadway. And like, it just was like such a beautiful surprise.
Yeah. It's so nice how life works. And by the way, for what it's worth, I think on your first performance, my roommate is a big Broadway boy, ran and got tickets. And when I told him I was interviewing you, he was like, oh my God, tell her she's fierce. Like people are like wanting to see you. So for your first audition back, I think you nailed it.
Clearly. That's amazing. I guess speaking about your journey and you know, working in different rooms and touring, what's been the biggest hurdle or the biggest challenge so far?
Like while working as an actor?
Yeah. Like doing this crazy career that we all do, right? Like getting up and doing these auditions and trying to make whatever it is for you.
I think early on, my biggest hurdle was what to do with myself when I wasn't working. I'm sure you've heard this answer before, but I developed a lot of hobbies over time, and hobbies that I'm like really passionate about now, and that is what helped with that. But yeah, I think the biggest hurdle at the beginning was like when I'm not in a show or when I'm auditioning, or even if I'm in a show, like if it's not going well, like if I'm facing rejection or I'm facing like criticism, how do I feel good about my life and not have my entire identity wrapped up in this one thing? And I struggle with that when I was young. I moved to New York when I was 15. So like, I mean, I was like a teenager navigating this world, and I struggled with it a lot when I was like in my late teens and early 20s. And then just like over time, my answer to that question was just like hobbies, was like getting like tons of hobbies, like painting and embroidery and knitting, and dance has always been a thing. Like tap dancing has always been a thing for me. Separate even from for work, but just like for fun. And I don't know, I'm trying to think, like all the hobbies. Playing guitar has always been like a hobby for me and not a career thing, more just like something I do for myself. And writing and, you know, stuff. Anyway, I accrued all these hobbies to like have a life, like a separate life that has nothing to do with acting. And it really helped with that.
I had an acting teacher who always like emphasized that. She was like, you guys got to be humans. You guys got to have other things to talk about with people besides just acting. Like she said, just that, get hobbies, like live a life, you know? And I think that's something I try to take with me. So those who are listening, Ephie's the truth right here, y'all.
Yeah. And also like, even if your main passion remains like acting, living your life and learning about other stuff and other people and being passionate about other stuff is going to inform your work later when you have to tell stories about real people who aren't actors and understand what it feels like to be like that, you know.
Right. People who play guitars after you picked up your guitar. You know what I mean? You can like understand. Yes.
I was gonna say, what's that Viola Davis quote? She's because we love Viola Davis. We love
Viola Davis.
We always stand here. She talks about like,
she says, I love being an actor because they're the only career that knows how to live a life. She says something like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
She was just on with Hoda, who I also love. I just wish I could be a host like Hoda.
Hoda's the truth.
Hoda is the truth, right? So we talked about like the struggles and the journeys and the survival jobs and like the anxieties that come with this career and this art that we all love to do. So what is it about performing and the arts and acting that makes you wake up and like choose to continue to do it?
I don't know. It just like won't let me go. Because I really like sincerely during the pandemic was like, I'm not sure. I was telling all my friends, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to act again.
Just a lot of our guests have said
circumstances.
That. Yeah.
Just the circumstances. And I like went through like a whole fertility journey and like was trying to be a mom, and that didn't work out. And now I'm like kind of grateful timing wise that it didn't. But like I was like really like walking down a different life road. So when Funny Girl happened and like when this agency picked me back up and said they would give me a shot, I was like, okay, so it's like it's not gonna let me go. I guess I'm just still doing it. I do feel like it's a choice. Like I don't. Sometimes I've heard like an acting teacher once said, and I've heard this from other people too, that like if you can visualize yourself doing anything else, you shouldn't be an actor. And I don't agree with that. At least not for me. I love acting. I love telling stories. I especially love the collaborative nature of theater and like the teamwork thing. I love feeling a part of something that people are making together. And I love theater so much more than film and TV. Sorry, film and TV. Because you're in a room with other human beings who are going to have their own very specific and personal reactions to things. And also because like, especially with music, like they did this study once where they like tracked people's hearts like during a musical, and they found that like the entire audience, your heartbeat starts to sync to the exact rhythm of the music that's playing. So like the entire audience actually is like their hearts are beating as one, like with you when you're singing.
Am I about to cry?
Which is I think just like so cool. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things about it that I find really meaningful. And so I hope that I get to do it for a lot of my life. And, you know, if during the times that I don't, I'll just like keep myself busy with my hobbies. But
I love that for you. That's so amazing. You have such a great, like, warm energy. Like, I feel like
I was going to say it too. Yeah. The energy is so good. The energy coming through the mic and the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I'm so happy to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have one last question before we go into the really fun game. And I always have to make sure I'm reading the question. Yeah. So I always screw up this question when Samantha
I know you
gives it to me.
hate having the last question. I'm sorry.
I want to make sure I get it right. Okay. So in season 1, we had a guest on the show say that if their artistic success went away, they feel like they can go back to waiting tables and being equally as happy. Do you have a survival job, either one that you've already had worked or one that you've always wanted to work, that you feel this way about?
You nailed it, Jay.
Equally as happy? I mean, yeah, yes and no. Yes, like the job that I know that I could go back to and be happy would be going back to work at Facebook again, or to work, not necessarily at Facebook, but like to work with the people I worked with wherever they are. I think a lot of them have spread out now to work on other things, but I just love those people. Those humans that I met at CrowdTangle were just such deliciously smart, funny people, and good-hearted people. And so like I would kill to work with them again, and I would be very happy doing it. It's different though. It's just, I think the reason why I didn't stay in that world and I came back to this is because I'm always going to be an artist, and it's a gift to be allowed to be paid money to do something that you're just inherently gonna do anyway. So
100%.
Yes and no. This is my answer.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, for being a part of our 50th episode.
I know.
This is a huge moment for Jason and I, and we're so happy to share it with you.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. Yes, you're amazing. We loved hearing your stories and your survival jobs. Everybody, keep on Instagram and see when Ephie's going to go on as Fanny. Jason and I will do the same, and we will run. We will run to the August Wilson. It's not the August Wilson, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Like, we will run to the August Wilson. Just confirming that's where it is.
Yeah. At the August Wilson.
So like Jason said, we do love to end every episode with a game, just to bring it back to fun, light, laughing times. Maybe we don't laugh. People sometimes are very upset if they lose.
I'm a pretty good loser, so
thank you. Thank you. We'll laugh. So in the spirit of Funny Girl, we thought we'd do some Barbra Streisand trivia.
Oh God, I don't think I'm gonna be good at this. no shade to Barbara, she's amazing, but I don't think I know a lot. Okay,
it's okay. It's a lot of multiple choice questions. So are you ready? You have your party pants on.
I learned
your
a lot today when I was.
I'm ready.
I was doing the research for the game.
Jason, you want to kick it off with the first one?
Sure. Okay. Before becoming successful as a singer-actress, what was Barbra Streisand's survival job? A dental assistant. B, a switchboard operator. C, a hand model. Or D, a jingle writer.
I'm gonna go with dental assistant.
No, she was a switchboard operator.
That's so strange. Can you imagine? I mean, well, people didn't know who she was yet, so they didn't know who they were talking to.
Wait, wasn't Julia Murney also a switchboard operator?
Yeah, Julia
Murney on.
Wait, what does a switchboard operator do? I don't even know.
So I don't know if you ever watched Mrs. Maisel, but it's like what she used to do, where like people would call, like back in like the olden days, like the 40s and 50s,
the days of yore.
The days of yore, and they would call like an operator, and they would have to patch, like use like an actual patch to like these cords to different places.
Oh yeah, and plug it into the other thing.
Yeah, and then it would connect somehow. Yeah.
Gather ye round, and we'll tell you the story of the switchboard operator.
Gather ye round, exactly. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's so cool.
See, this is why the game is fun. This is why we always say it's a fun game. We all are.
That was a really hard one, though. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. I should know these things. Now I get to learn.
See, exactly. Okay. Number 2, true or false? Streisand was the first choice to play Sally Bowles in Cabaret, but turned it down because she wanted to move away from musicals.
I'm gonna go with true.
Correct.
True.
I didn't actually know the answer. It just sounded like too compelling of a story to not be true.
Yeah. Yes. And then we all know they went to Liza Minnelli.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Great.
Seriously.
Because we got that amazing performance.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. And Trice has enough like amazing performances. You gotta spread the love around, you know?
I agree.
True or false? Streisand is the only artist to have a #1 album in 6 consecutive decades: 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s.
True.
Ooh, that is true.
Yes, true. I think that I knew. Yeah.
Yeah, her album Partners, released in 2014, gave her this record. Wow. That's crazy.
Wow.
6 decades.
That's actually really crazy.
Good for her, man. Good for her.
Yeah.
Okay, you're doing great. Yeah. You're really redeeming yourself in the game.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, true or false again? Everyone knows that Barbra Streisand... hello, am I okay? Everyone knows that Barbra starred in and directed Yentl. But did she also wear the editor's hat on this passion project?
No. False?
Correct. She only directed, co-wrote, and co-produced. Only.
Only.
No big deal.
You know, we can't do it all. Can't have it all.
Can't do it all. Can't edit it.
Just do things. Just will do everything else except edit. No worries.
Okay, and then one last one, the bonus. When Streisand won her Oscar for Funny Girl at the 41st Annual Academy Awards in 1969, which line from the film did she repeat to her statuette? It's also in the musical as well.
Wait, one more time? Mm-hmm. What was the question again? One more time?
Yep. When Streisand won her Oscar for Funny Girl at the 41st Annual Academy Awards, which line from the film / musical did she repeat to her statuette?
Oh, it has to be Hello, Gorgeous. Right?
Yes,
it has to be Hello, Gorgeous.
Congratulations. You were like, wait, what's the question? Where am I?
I was like thinking, I don't know. My brain, I just had COVID also, so I'm going to blame that on brain fog. Because for a short second, my brain just went fuzzy.
Are you doing okay? Yes, it is. I still blame things on my brain fog. From my COVID in last November.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. I'm just going to keep blaming everything on brain fog when I don't know what's going on.
I think it's a valid excuse. And I think it's probably real.
And the tiredness too.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Wait, Jason, when you just read that question in 1969, anytime I hear 1969, I think of Even Stevens. You guys know what I'm talking about? When Ren Stevens sings, "We went to the moon in 1969." Nobody, you know what I'm talking about?
Went to the moon in 1969, not 1970, but a year sooner. We went to the moon in 1969.
That's when they made a landing that was lunar.
I'm so dead. I don't remember that.
Thank you so much for being there with me. I know we're not on key,
man, I forgot. I didn't know what I couldn't place the song until you started singing it, and then I was like, I know this song.
Yes. Shout out to Disney Channel and Ren Stevens. That's her name, right? Even Stevens.
Is that Carly Rae?
Stevens.
Carly Rae Romano?
Carly Romano. Yeah, she makes videos now about like managing money and stuff because she like had a fortune from doing that show and then like lost it all, like squandered it. And so she does these, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they're really cool. They're these like videos she puts out online of her walking through the woods and she's like hiking and she'll just like talk for like 20 minutes about, she'll tell like a story about a stupid thing she did that she wished she didn't do. And she does them basically to warn people and be like, don't do what I did.
Yeah, I saw the one where she talked about like working with Shia and how she was like sad that their friendship like faltered after the show. And
I didn't see that one.
I went off the deep end.
They're really interesting though. I really appreciate them because like a lot of it, they just feel so honest. It's just so honest of her.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty brave to be like, hey, probably hundreds of thousands of followers. Look at everything I fucked up.
Yeah, like she just, it's so interesting that she just decided, she was like, I think I want to tell these stories. And and when I listened to them, I've never been in the position that she was in, but they still feel helpful because she's just like telling an honest story, and there's something to connect with about that, I think, as like a person. Even if you've never had that much money in your life, you're like,
yeah,
we all do dumb things, and
right.
Of course.
And look at her, she's still here. Like like she's fine.
Okay.
She's a Connecticut girl like us, Sam.
She is?
Yeah.
Wow.
We're from Sam and I from Connecticut, and so is it Carly Rae Romano?
Carly Rae Jepsen is who you're thinking of, and I think she sings the song about Friday. Friday.
No, but Carly Romano.
Carly
Romano, right?
Carly, yeah, I don't know what her middle name is.
Stevens. Yeah.
And she's a theater girl too. She was in Parade.
She is. Yeah.
She was in Parade?
Yeah, in the original cast.
Oh, wow.
Wasn't she in Beauty and the Beast
right?
too? Am I making that up?
She was in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
She was in Beauty and the Beast. And I'm like, now I'm concerned that I'm having COVID brain again. And I'm like, is she in Parade? But people will listen to this and they'll be like, she wasn't in Parade. They'll tell
let us know. Yeah.
They'll let us know. Was Carly Romano in Parade? Let us
Please
know.
DM us. We need to know. We will not Google. We'll wait for the DMs.
We'll wait.
Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Well, by the way, you got 100 on the game because even though you got that one incorrect, you got the bonus.
Yes.
So, congrats. Yes. Thank you.
And what's her prize? What's her prize, Sam?
You know what?
The dinner.
An invitation to the season 3 premiere party of Survival Jobs, the podcast.
Yeah.
Whenever that is.
I would love to be there.
Whenever that will be.
Yes.
Maybe in the spring. We don't even know when this season is over. We don't even know how many episodes it'll be. But when we figure that out, we will be sure you get the invite.
Yay. I'll bring snacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love snacks.
Who doesn't love a good snack?
This has been so fun. No, we love a snack. And I hope that Benefit Mascara will now sponsor us since we spoke about them.
Oh my God.
Do you think they will?
I don't know, maybe.
Likely not.
Maybe they'll send you free makeup.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Where can everybody find you on social media so they can follow you? If they're not following you already, to follow you and support you and all the good stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ephie Aardema. It's spelled EPHIEAARDEMA. Just my name.
Yes. And that's your website too, right? Ephie Aardema.
That is my website too. And I keep like thinking, should I just let this go? Do I keep paying for this? Because do people actually go to websites? So that's another question that I have, that if you know the answer to whether Carly Romano is in Parade, maybe you can also give me the wisdom of whether or not it's worth it to have a website anymore.
Well, I did. I actually went to your website. So
cool.
It worked for me.
Sweet.
I didn't. I just want to be honest. I did not go to the website.
I just think with YouTube, like now that we have YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Google, I'm just like, it's an interesting thing now to keep up a website if you're not like loaded. Like it makes sense if you're like a multimillionaire, like what's what's a couple $100 a year or whatever. But if you're just like an average person, it's like it's a decision.
It's a decision.
Correct.
You're like, do I pay for this again? I don't know.
Again and again. Thank you so much. I know we've thanked you a million times, but this has been amazing. And if you guys are tuning in because you're an Ephie fan, I literally also have COVID brain. I almost said a Carly fan because we're talking about Carly Romano. If you're tuning in for the first time because you're an Ephie fan and you don't follow us at Survival Jobs Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Send us an email at survivaljobspod@gmail.com. Follow me, Sammy Toots, and follow my boy, Jason A. Coombs. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Ephie. You're a star. You're the greatest star.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course.
Yes.